Welcome everyone. So this is the second episode of Who Are You? Wie is jy? So I'm speaking to Lauren Mooi, and she agreed to join me. So we're gonna just have a nice light chat, speaking about how to deal with depression, how to help each other in relationships, and yeah, we'll see where the conversation goes after that. So grab a cup of coffee and tea, or on your way to work, and you can listen to us. So, Lauren, if you can just introduce yourself as well. Who are you?
Okay. Thank you, Jonathan, for having me. I am an author, I'm also a publisher, and I am a Christian coach.
Okay, perfect. You're author. So, what books did you actually? Are you busy with a book now, or you
No,
publish?
no, I published two books. It's part of a series. I'm not done with the final, the
Yeah.
third book, but it's fantasy fiction.
Okay.
And funny enough, I wrote that book to actually deal with my depression.
Okay.
So
Yes.
it was very therapeutic for me. So anybody who caused me pain and strife and all of that, I created a character in the book and I killed him. That was
Oh,
my therapy.
yes.
It was
You
my way
killed
of
him
getting rid of
physically in the book. Yeah.
yes. I was like, that's the end of
Nice.
my story. I'm killing them. They're done. They're no longer going
Yeah.
to interfere or hurt
Nice.
me or whatever. That was the
Oh,
form
that's
of
powerful. Yeah. Way of dealing with
yeah.
it.
So
So,
So
like I
I'm
said,
I'm currently
yeah.
busy with my own story, my own true story, and it also ties
Okay.
in a lot with what I'm doing in terms of life coaching. So
Yes.
but it's not like a self-help guide. It's still a novel-based story. So
Okay.
it's a story. It's just
Yes.
the the plot is based
Mhm.
on what I've lived. So it's
Okay.
based on my experiences, and I will create each character from that,
Oh,
and we'll
that's
see how it goes.
interesting.
I'm very excited
Yeah.
about it.
No, it's
Yeah.
interesting. Hopefully we can have you on again, yes, and you can share. Where is your books available
Some
actually?
update.
Where's
Sorry,
your
say
book?
again.
Where's your initial book available? Is it available at shops or
So yeah,
online?
the first one is available at selective exclusive books,
Okay.
and there's a few stores in Cape Town that's not part of exclusive. I
Yes.
can't remember all the names right now,
No, it's
but yeah,
perfect. But I mean
it
that
is
that
in.
ties nicely into I think my story as well. So like I said, I had a bad depression last year. I injured my foot, and then just after that, I thought I'm gonna lose my work, and I was just like in my head the whole time. Um, and I think being abroad as well is so. I feel little people to speak to. There's like
Yeah.
there's not a lot of people actually to open up to and actually to be vulnerable. And that's why I also started this podcast where we have like a safe place where you can actually be a bit vulnerable and then share your story, and then this might also help somebody else, because that's what happened to me. If I and When I only started like speaking about what I'm experiencing and how I feel
Mm.
to my family and my friends, colleagues at work, and then that actually helped me so much. Yeah, so yeah, I would like to hear what actually helped you when you were going through some depression, Lauren.
So mine started 12 years ago, and I'll tell you a funny
Okay.
story. If you ask people who are either diagnosed with depression, or people who know that they have chronic depression, you can
Yeah.
ask them, when did it start? And they'll be able to tell you.
Oh
And
wow.
the common misconception is that people think that depression is how you feel. It's based on how you feel at the moment, or it's your level of capability. How do you handle that emotion? But it's actually not. Depression is a state of mind. It is a
Yeah.
disorder,
Hmm.
and it develops over time. So mine
Yeah.
started 12 years ago. I was studying medicine to become a doctor, and
Okay.
that opportunity was taken away from me. And I knew from the age of 5 that I needed to help people. And being a 5-year-old, the
Yeah.
only thing you think of is a teacher or a doctor. So
Yeah.
I thought, okay, I need to be a doctor.
Nice.
And for the many years, that's what I thought my purpose was. But then
Mm.
12 years ago, it was taken away from me, not realizing that it wasn't my purpose. It was actually just a dream.
Yeah.
And in that same week, God gave me my purpose. He called me to ministry. But because I was so hurt by the loss of this medical opportunity, I ignored it and I became disobedient.
Mm.
And 2 years after that, my mom died.
Oh,
And then
wow.
things just got progressively worse. So the first time you experience something traumatic, like something was taken away from you, and you
Mm.
don't deal with it because you don't know how to deal with it. At that
Yeah.
time, I thought, how do I create a new purpose? Where do I find a new
Yeah.
path in life? That sort of thing. So it really it consumed me, and I
Mm.
kept it as an overwhelming sadness. And then two
Yeah.
years later, something else happened. My mom died, and that became my great sadness. And it was
Wow.
in that moment that depression developed because
Mm.
I hadn't gotten over these little severe
Obstacle.
milestones in my life. And then
Yeah.
as things progressed, you pile it on. Your
Mm.
mind then gets to a point of coping. So
Yeah.
it's like the neurons in your brain actually change and it gets used to experiencing sad things. So it's difficult. That's why I never tell people positive thinking because it's difficult because your mind is set on surviving, to
Mm.
coping. And some people go to substances to try and cope better. So
Yeah.
alcohol, I was one of them. I think I was an alcoholic for a whole year, but not to a point of where I was addicted. It was just to a
I
point of I
see.
need to escape.
Mm.
And I smoked most of my life as well because that was also a thing.
Okay.
And I also entertained relationships that were no good for me because I didn't
Mm.
feel worthy. So
Yeah.
your security level decreases, your
Mm.
self-esteem decreases, you don't think you're worthy of anything, you also
Mm.
feel like you're losing control over your life, and everything just spirals. And all of a sudden, you're completely down, and you
Yeah.
don't know how to explain it because if you
Mm.
tell somebody why you sad, they're going to be like,
Yeah.
oh, but it's not that bad, get over it. And then, but you don't understand, it's not just
It's
that,
a chronic.
it's everything
Yeah.
before.
Wow.
So,
And
and
and I
I think
mean, yeah. Sorry,
the
just to
way
come
that
in there. Okay.
yeah.
No, I'm just thinking. So I mean, it's quite a long time that you felt that way, and like you said, different coping mechanism you tried. Um, what was I'm just thinking. 'Cause I'm just wondering now. I think for me as well, people are so busy with their own lives as well. I mean, obviously, did you reach out to people but they just didn't understand, or how was that experience? Like,
So for
yeah.
me, I did reach out to a lot of people, and I think
Mm.
that's why I turned to alcohol mostly
Mm.
because when you cry when you're drunk,
Yeah.
they listen to you, but they
Yeah.
don't pay attention. But all you need to do is talk about it.
Mm.
Um, I've been told that I'm seeking attention. I've been told that I mean, I actually overdosed in
Oh,
2018,
wow.
and by the grace of God, I made it. My heart stopped twice in that moment, and
Wow.
I had these out of body experiences
Mm.
with God. And when I talk about it, people are like, no, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And I was also told that you weren't trying to end things,
Yeah.
you were just trying to feel better. And I'm like, no, I
Yeah.
was trying to feel nothing. Like, what do you mean?
Mm.
Like, I was
Wow.
trying to eat because it's just nobody understands what I'm going through, and nobody
Yeah.
understands it. It's like, oh, and then they try to compare it with their lives. And it's like, yes, but now, you know what? At least you don't have to
Yes.
worry about kids and this and that. And
Yeah.
I'm like, this isn't about you. So
Mm.
I think the strongest form of help came from God.
Yes.
And obviously, I did go to therapy. I started going to
Yeah.
therapy in 2016, and there was a lot of stuff that came out that
Mm.
was relating to all my depression. Because
Unresolved.
alongside my mother's passing, there was a lot of guilt, there was a lot of secrets, there was a lot of trauma that happened literally around the time of our passing, and I didn't know that I had all of that inside of me. So when I went to therapy, I
Wow.
had to deal with that. And it was very overwhelming because, again, I didn't have anybody to talk to because it looks like I'm whining and complaining.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because God was separating me and putting me aside for something greater. I
Mm.
thank Him for that because most people don't have that opportunity, and most people do end up leaving the world.
Yeah.
Um, but I
Mm.
honestly can say talking about it does help to a certain
Mm.
degree. Um, but allowing God to actually go
Mm.
inside of you and fix it.
Nice.
That's the
Yeah.
pure medicine because
Oh,
He
wow.
fixes it
Mm.
and then it goes away. And then he
Yeah.
start like in this time, it's actually this year that he called me again. And
Mm.
I woke up, everything else was gone. My craving for smoking was gone. My need for drinking
Yeah.
was gone. My need for unnecessary relationships was gone. I was like, okay, I'm ready for the godly spouse. I'm waiting.
Yeah.
And that's why I started the series. And
Mm.
but my depression was still there. And I asked him
Mm.
why. And he showed me over the course of a month
Mm.
that it's in the mind. He's like, I need to, you
Wow.
will wake up
Mm.
every morning feeling depressed, but I'm going to give you joy because I need you to get back to the word. And he
Wow.
showed me step by step how to deal with the depression because it's a mental thing. You need
Yeah.
to reset your mind. Everything, it's been
Wow.
12 years. Some people have been depressed for 40. So
Yeah.
you can't just tell them, yeah, take medication or yeah, do therapy.
Mm.
You need to change your mindset. It's a
It's a
matter of
process. Yeah.
reprogramming.
Mm.
It's a matter, and also people were removed from my life, and it's
Mm.
not by choice. It's God
Yeah.
removed them because those people were not helping me. They were just adding to my pain, and I did not realize it. So how did I handle my depression? It's all the grace
Mm.
of God. If I never had him, I would still be depressed today. And I wouldn't be able
Nice.
to
Mm.
have this interview without crying. Like
Yeah.
that's the only
Wow.
thing I can think of. I mean, I was
Yes.
on medication. I wasn't on antidepressants because I refused,
Mm.
but I was on anti-anxiety medication, and it's very close to antidepressants.
Mm.
And what it does is it suppresses all your emotions and you feel nothing. And I was on it for 1 week, I think
Mm.
1.5
Yeah.
weeks. And in that time, I thought of ending everything at least 15
Wow.
times a day because
Sure.
you have no feeling. You have
It's
all the
scary.
courage
Mm.
ever because you don't care about anything or anyone. So you're like, okay, well, I might as well just call it quits. And you have the strength. It actually gives you the
Wow.
strength. All
Sure.
the people
It's
that I
scary.
know that have taken their lives were on
Mm.
antidepressants.
Oh, wow.
So
It's
I
scary.
highly do not recommend it.
Yeah.
If you can stay away
Mm.
from it, 100%
Yes.
stay away from it.
Yeah. No, but I
My
can
only
relate and
recommendation is God.
nice. No, I can relate to that as well. Yes. I mean, like you say, like I said, my story, like you said, it doesn't seem like it was so long, but I wonder if it was even a chronic thing of being so away from home. And that incident where I injured my foot was just like the last straw where it just pushed me
The
over the
extra, yes.
edge. Um, but like you say, I like that the quote that you gave in one of your TikTok videos when you said in Second Corinthians 12 verse 8, said the
Yeah.
power is made perfect in weakness. So I mean, like you're saying, we should just empty ourselves and say, I can't do it on my own.
Yeah.
Lord, please, you take over now and you lead the way and you guide me and give me the strength I need to continue. So yeah, that's
That
beautiful. Yeah.
I'll give you a short story of where that
Mm.
actually came about. And
Okay.
I don't speak when I speak about stuff, it's not out of thin air. It's my own experience. And then
Yeah.
God gives me the revelation on how to teach it. So
Mm.
that was one of the moments where I got to a point I was tired of being tired. I was tired of being
Yeah.
depressed. I was tired of like you have good days and bad days, but the depression is
Mm.
always there. And I even named it as an outer body experience, and I called her Lucy. Like she
Yeah.
was there, and she used to tell me things like, "Oh, you're not gonna make it. Oh, you're just useless. Maybe you must give up." And I used to be like, "Just shut up. Like for one
Yeah.
day, can you just leave me alone?" Like
Yes.
that's the point that I got to, and I'd say, "God, I
Wow.
can't do it anymore."
Mm.
And I heard him say, "Give it to me." And I was like,
Wow.
okay.
Ek
And
dink
immediately I
kogellig.
started, you see, and
Yeah.
immediately I started crying, but I was crying like I was dying, that I got
Wow.
down onto the floor. I was sitting
Sure.
on my bed and it was so, I can't even explain it. It hurt. All my organs in my body
Sure.
hurt so badly.
Wow.
And I was on my all fours and I was crying and I said, Lord, I can't, you need to stop. Because I could feel he was dealing with my
Yeah.
mother's death more than anything else. He said, this is holding you back. We need to sort that out first. I was like,
Yes.
okay, fine. And he put me on all fours and I got to the point where I couldn't breathe. And I was like, Lord, you need to stop. You need to give me a minute. Like, give me a minute. Like, if he was something else, I
Wow.
can't do this. And he did
Yeah.
in
Mm.
that instant, but I felt all my organs were hurting to a point
Mm.
of couldn't breathe. And what I
Yeah.
didn't realize at that time was I think 2 days after that, my anxiety disappeared. What I
Oh,
didn't
wow.
realize is that he
Mm.
was getting rid of the anxiety. And the anxiety
That's
is an
fine.
illness. It's a mental illness,
Mm.
not a disorder. So you can get rid of it without medication. It
Yeah.
starts in the brain and it manifests in the body. So I
Yeah.
had issues with my digestion. I lost a lot of weight because I couldn't eat. My intestines was in spasm, so it didn't really
Mm.
do what it was
Wow.
supposed to do. When I cried, the most of the pain was in my stomach. And then it
Sure.
moved up to my chest because when I have panic attacks, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
then it felt like my rib cage was pressing against my lungs and causing more pain than what my mind thought in terms
Yes.
of anxiety. And when I stopped, when the cry stopped, when I said, that's enough, can we just stop for today? And he just
Yeah.
stopped it. And my
Wow.
body relaxed. And for the first time ever, I was like, I'm no longer in pain. And secondly, I was so hungry that I got up.
Nice.
I went to
Can
the
eat.
kitchen and I'm like, I need to eat everything.
Yeah.
And I lost like 5 kgs in, I'm not a big girl. I'm very thin and
Yeah.
I have
Sure.
difficulty putting on weight.
Mm.
So when I lose and I keep it off for a very long
Yes.
time. So in that time, I
Wow.
lost 5 kgs. And because I allowed him to start healing that way, I was at my weakest. And that's why I said, you're not
Yeah.
going to die. If you
Mm.
get, because we are too scared. See, our mind is protecting us because we need to survive. It's a
Yeah.
survival thing. So if you get to that
Sure.
point of breaking, your mind is going to think, if you pass that point of crying so badly, you are going to have a mental breakdown and you are going to be in psychosis and they'll have
Mm.
to hook you
Yeah.
into an institution. But that's not the
Mm.
case. You just need
Mm.
to trust God and just let it all go because that's your
Yeah.
full weakness. And
Mm.
immediately He gives you strength. I woke up, I was
Wow.
so happy. I'm like, I'm not even anxious about nothing. Like, was that
Sure.
all in my, oh my goodness, it was all in my head. But I'm still depressed, but okay,
Yes.
we're going to deal with it. So that's where it comes from. It actually
Yeah.
comes from experience.
No, that's really amazing. And I mean, I think my story as well. You're sharing so wonderful. Thank you. And I'm just, I think it's so good therapy for me as well, because I
There you
think
go.
um, I, I think what triggered me a lot also loss, or when I think about it, I couldn't understand to myself. I'm now felt like I was so like successful. Um,
Mm.
I'm in Qatar now. I'm earning a good salary. I have a beautiful wife and family, good job, and yeah, I'm like, but why don't I feel
Happy.
happy or I feeling down and sad? And it's like, and like you say, after like speaking to people and also praying, um, and like you say, yeah, the Lord's help as well. What I feel the Lord done for me as well is that He knows what you can handle. So I think He allowed me to experience that feeling which I don't want anyone else to feel, and say, yeah, I
Mm.
have a little bit of this and see how it is, and then maybe you can maybe try to now help and support others. And I think He allowed me to experience that for that time, and I think that's why I'm so like motivated and now passionate to kind of help people and say like, this is a problem and it can really bring you down for years, like you say. But if you speak about it, if you let it out, if how we experience as Christians, allow the Lord to help you, then you can overcome it, yes. So like you
Mm.
say, the Lord was one of the big things that actually helped you. I see we have like 10 minutes left. What about your relationships? I heard you doing coaching as well. Um, or is it couples coaching or?
Yes, well,
Yes.
individual or couples coaching. And the reason
Okay.
why I chose couples is because couples are more influential than single people.
Yeah.
Because we are designed to, God did not make us to be alone. He
Okay.
created us to have companionship. And
Mm,
when you look at a couple, it's motivating and inspiring. And you tend
yeah.
not to look at single people because single people complain a lot because it's like, why are you single? Something's wrong with you.
Mm,
And it's not the case. Most of the time, it's not the case. But I
mm,
chose couples instead because I don't, firstly, the divorce rate is very high. And
yeah.
secondly, we're getting divorced for stupid reasons. And it's
Yeah.
like, this is not working out. Oh, I just fell out of love with you and we just grew apart. It does not say that
Mm,
in the Bible. It does not say
mm,
divorce because you grew apart or
mm,
divorce because you have financial issues. So I want us to get back to what
nice.
God intended marriage to be. Because marriage is also the covenant of God, and it's something that the enemy hates. Because where two or more are gathered, that's where
Mm,
things happen. And if you are praying together as a couple, as one
mm,
flesh, God is going to move so much better in that person's life, in those people's lives. And that's
mm,
what the enemy doesn't want. So the biggest way that we can fight the evil in this world is by standing together by his
mm,
grace, with his love, as united couple. And the
mm,
reason why I decided to go into coaching is exactly
mm,
what you're saying. It's touching on what you're saying. Through experience, God has given you a certain amount because he knows that you can handle it. But at the end of the day, it's because of
mm,
this moment. And this is what
yeah.
he knows the plans that he has for us. And he knows that your podcast is going to touch many, but he
Mm,
also knows that you can't do it without going through school. So
yeah.
basically, right now, we are
Curriculum.
just teachers. We are
Yeah.
teachers. So we need to go and study. It's not easy. Studying is not easy. And that's basically what we're doing. So going through our life experience, going through
Yeah.
our depressive moments, we
Mm,
had to, so that we can come out of it and be like, okay, so this is what I've learned. That's why you're
yeah.
motivated because you graduated. So now it's
Mm,
time to teach what you've learned. And
nice.
that's why I mean, it's 12 years of experience and I want to teach it. I've made so much mistakes in those 12 years. I've also lost so much and I've come out of it, but I
Mm,
want to coach people on life, on how to get to where they need to be in a healthier, safer way.
nice. No, that's amazing. And I wish you all the best. But I'm just wondering with
And
couples because I met a lot of people that came out of some toxic relationships, and I always thought to myself, isn't it sometimes better? I'll ask you for some people to be just on their own as well. Or how do you feel about that?
so they
Because
it does
yeah,
actually say that it does actually say that in the Bible. I can't remember which book it is, but it does actually say that it's good for a man not to marry.
okay,
Because they basically say, I'm warning
yeah,
you not to get married because trouble will come.
yeah,
And the only reason why, and if you read that the book
mm,
continuously, you'll find that they say um, if you cannot stay celibate, then you need to get
yeah,
married.
I
If you
see.
cannot control yourself
Mm,
for
get that
sexual
people.
immorality, then you need to get
Yeah,
married. So you can have one person that you're with, and then she can have one husband. It's the same
yeah,
with women. If you
mm,
cannot be by yourself and
yeah,
and not fornicate, then you
mm,
have to get married. So
I
that's
see.
basically the only reason why people desperately need to. But if you want to be single, be single. Like there's
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that. If you want to be
mm,
single, be single. And I'm actually going to do the video of uh, my today's part of my
yeah,
series, day 5.
okay,
And I'm going to speak about the fruits because you said the toxic environment, and it's very
yeah,
true. There's a lot of toxic people, and God is not putting us here to heal those toxic people. He's going to do it. Sometimes
mm,
it's not our assignment, so we don't have to accept it. How you know if the
yes,
person is for you, you got to check the fruits. And I'm going to leave it there. The fruits of the
okay,
spirit. That's what it is.
yes. No,
So
thank you.
just
I
in
say you
case
have
we
three
run out of
minutes.
time.
Anything in closing? But I wanted to say thank you again. The time went so quick, and I'm definitely sure we'll hopefully have another chat again.
We will.
Um,
We will.
but thank you for coming on, and yeah, I wish you all the best with your book. And really,
Thank
like
you.
when like I said, like why I spoke to you, maybe the first when I'm speaking to your videos on TikTok really also inspired me. And yeah, continue doing your thing. I think sometimes with TikTok persons, it's always, I think for me, I'm like, oh, I don't get views, I don't. But I think if you touch one or two people, that's like enough. And I think you're
Yes.
making a really a big impact on people's lives already. Yeah. So continue.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
anything in closing for you?
Um, no, except good luck
Um,
with your podcast.
thank you.
I know it's going to be an absolute amazing thing.
Nice,
Especially if God is in it, it's going to go as far as wide as it possibly can. You will affect more lives than you can imagine, especially on the topic of depression.
nice. No, thank you so
So
much.
good
I
luck. You
appreciate it.
too.
Have a blessed day. And yeah,
You too. Thank you.
thank you. Or maybe I'll just
Okay,
ask
then.
the audience if they have any comments later. They can add this will be on Spotify and YouTube. So any comments we can look through afterwards again. Otherwise, stay blessed.
Perfect. Thank you.
Bye
You too.
bye. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.